Hi, I'm Alex, this is Tank Tested, and you're looking at my Best in Show winning Aquascape. It's a custom tank with a viewing panel that gives a unique perspective into the aquarium. In this episode, we'll be exploring the scape and how I got it to the big fish deal. This tank has been in my home for about a year. It's near and dear to my heart because it's one of a kind. I built the stand myself and I modified the aquarium to make it a unique centerpiece to my apartment. The tank originally had the sloped side panels you see here, but they were just aesthetic. So I decided to make a modification. I installed this viewing panel myself. I cut a pane of glass to size and then I used black aquarium silicone to seal it into place. This modification not only made the tank stand out, it also allowed me to fill the aquarium all the way to the rim. When it's filled, this setup holds about 25 gallons or 95 liters of water. So, what's in the tank? Let's start with the stone. These are sold as Sierra stones, and they're a form of limestone. Like any limestone, they'll slowly dissolve in water. But under normal conditions, you'd die of old age long before this stone breaks down. Still, Sierra stones like this do increase the hardness of your water. Obviously, I also have quite a few plants in here as well. In the foreground, I've planted my Chrysanthemum tweedii, which is sold under the common name Monte Carlo. It's a low-growing, carpeting plant, and it pearls nicely if given enough CO2. I've also grown it very successfully with no CO2 at all. It just grows quite a bit slower. In the middle of the tank, I've got a thick carpet of Marsillia hirsuta. It's sold under the name four-leaf clover. But I think that's a pretty inaccurate title. The leaves can take multiple forms depending on their growing conditions. In some instances, they do look like four-leaf clovers, as they do in the 10-gallon scape I showed you a few episodes ago. But they can also grow large single leaves or four-leaf sprouts that look bifurcated rather than round. Regardless, it's a great beginner carpeting plant that can grow under low light and no CO2. But it also grows decently under medium light and grows well with pressurized carbon dioxide. Finally, I've planted this grass in the back. It's a staple of my local club, GWAPA, the Greater Washington Aquatic Plant Association. A small clump was collected from the wild by one of our members, and it's since spread around the club. We've yet to get a positive ID on the grass, so I don't know the scientific name, but there are similar grasses commercially available in the hobby. Now, at competition, there were also fish, shrimp, and snails in the tank, but we'll get to them after I move this scape to the big fish deal. To get the tank to competition, first I needed to drain it. That's why I waited to add the aquatic life. I used a python that connects directly to my sink, and it makes the whole process speedy and clean. I've included a link to the python in the description of this video. Now, you don't need to drain the tank fully, it's just a matter of getting enough water out that a friend and I can lift the aquarium. To keep the rocks in place, I filled about 50 sandwich bags with air and stuffed them in the tank. You can use any type of bag or newspaper for the same purpose. And like that, the tank is where it needs to be. Filling the scape is pretty painless. You just need something to break the flow of water up. I use a colander. And there you go. It's good as new. There's also a school of fish here, courtesy of Rachel O'Leary. These are Emerald Eye Respora, or more specifically, Bivibora das... I'm not pronouncing that name. I chose them for this tank because they're tight schoolers but won't steal the show. Their brilliant reflective eyes add a pop of color. but their silver bodies don't distract from the rich green world I've tried to create in this scape. I'll probably end up adding another dozen or so emerald eyes in order to provide them with enough numbers that they feel at home. I really like species-specific scapes because it means you can get enough fish for their natural behavior to start to show. A single species tank also means that you can make changes to the habitat with a set of behaviors and needs in mind. It's something you just can't do with a community tank. I've also added a few Amano shrimp to the tank, also from Rachel, and they were very badly needed. You've likely noticed the buildup of algae throughout my tank. These guys are masters of taking care of it. Finally, there are a few nearite snails here. They're wonderful cleaners, and because they're so rock-like, you almost don't notice them unless you really start looking. Now, since everyone asks, I'm running this tank using a hang-on-back canister filter. It's a great little filter, but it has very low flow, just enough to keep my established tank running. I also used a Phoenix Planted Plus to light the scape. It provides decent coverage and gives off enough light for my plants to live. I've provided a link to both the light and the filter in the description of this video. So that's my tank. At the competition, it was judged by a couple people of note. First, the man who discovered the hairgrass in this scape, Sean Murphy. Second, Joey, the king of DIY, also had a long look at my tank. He runs a wonderful YouTube channel that I'll link here, but let's be real, you already know him. To my surprise, and an odd turn of luck, this tank won Best in Show. I also got third place in my category of medium-sized tanks. So try to figure that one out. Still, I want to thank Joey and Sean for judging, and I'm glad they didn't hate my scape. If you like this video, please share it, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you next time.